Hello and welcome to another episode of the Flip the Mindset podcast, a platform of hope for people struggling with the pressures of modern day society. Hey, let me introduce you to today's sponsors. Episode 4 is proudly sponsored by Glasgow MOT Centre and Notorious Plumbing. Glasgow MOT Centre offers a dealership experience at a fraction of the price. We take on any mechanical work and fleet work is also welcome. We do everything from tyres to engine rebuilds and even carry out welding work. We are based in Baillieston and our number is 0141 773 0028. You can also find us on Instagram at Glasgow MOT Centre. Notorious Plumbing, a veteran-owned and operated business for all your plumbing, heating, drainage and gas needs, are a reliable, friendly and on-time, every-time service. Call, text or WhatsApp on 077 513 00824 or visit our social media or our website at www.notoriousplumbingglasgow.com. Thank you for watching and I hope you can take something away from today's episode with the fantastic Barry Ferguson. Guys, hello again and welcome to the, fifth episode? I'm going to say fourth and a very exciting episode for me with the legend Barry Ferguson. Barry Ferguson had a fantastic career playing for Glasgow Rangers, Birmingham, Blackburn, Fleetwood. I didn't actually know you were at Fleetwood.
Yeah, I get.
So I didn't.
That was a strange one. I fell out with the chairman.
Right.
And I get sent to train with the youth team. The first time it's ever happened. What age was that? I was 36, like coming towards the end of my career, and it was a strange one, but it was good.
Send you away, little wee boy.
I just go away and train me. We don't want you near the club. So I don't know the reason.
Wow.
In fact, I never asked them the reason. It's not like me normally. I'm straight to the point.
Yeah.
But I went and trained with the youth team, and I quite enjoyed it because it was good. Like, getting them wee bits of information and helping them. We were training in a five-a-side complex, which wasn't ideal, but do you know what? I was kicking a ball about and I wasn't too bothered. I just got my head down and then I thought to myself, do you know what? I've got another year or two left because my ankles were giving me a bit of trouble.
Yep.
And I thought, I need to go and play. And Mickey Mellon, who's a Dun United manager now, was a Fleetwood manager, got in contact. He says, do you fancy coming here? I'm not sure if you will because it's League Two. I says, I don't care, mate. I'll come. I'll come and play. So I went and played 4 or 5 games for Fleetwood and then I come back to Blackpool and played again once Paul Ince came in and then eventually took on as caretaker manager and it was still the same chairman.
Did you captain again when Paul Ince came in?
Aye, yep.
It's crazy how many, I'll talk about that later, but it's crazy how many times you've had captaincy and then you've maybe lost it for some reason and you've got it again and then got it at this club, got it at that club. That's unbelievable. The trust that if something did happen to make it, like if you get injured or anything like that, once you get back, the captaincy was there for you. Do you know what I mean? That's just for me.
It was good. It was good that the managers trusted me, and I guess my teammates as well. Yeah. I mean, I think if you ask any of my teammates, they'll say he was one morning-faced bastard. You know what I mean? But that was me. I just wanted to win at all costs. And
win all the time.
And they now realise when you hear them maybe doing interviews or whatever they're talking about, whether it's Rangers or whatever, they say I was really demanding, but I done it for a reason.
Yep.
I done it to make sure I get the best out of them and get the best out of myself as a leader because I wanted to try and lead by example and I wanted the boys to do the same because there was so many guys that I played with. I just thought to myself, I could get another 5 or 10%. If you got another 5 or 10% out of them, they could even be better players than they actually were.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning. All right, we need to go back to the beginning. But no, actually, first of all, before we go back to the beginning, what are you up to now? How's lockdown been?
Listen, it's been different. It's been tough like everybody. You know what I mean? I've had to obviously, like all families during lockdown. The best thing about it was me, my wife and the 3 kids got time to spend together because all my kids are a bit older and they're either working. My middle son, he's out playing in Sweden full time.
Yep.
So he come back, and obviously my daughter is working full time. So it was great to get everybody together. It was like a party for.
It was like a party. The
4 or 6 weeks, aye.
The first 4 to 6 weeks wasn't it? Party. See, I had a baby in January. Well, no, me, the missus. So we had the.
I hope you didn't have a baby.
So we had. So the start of lockdown, he was only 8 weeks old. So it was great. I've got to see. I went back to work 4 weeks ago. I've got to see every day of his first 6 months. Which, when do we ever really get to see that?
Well, do you know what? That's something that I missed out on.
Yeah.
Because I was playing 3 times a week.
And so many people, so many dads miss out on it, you know?
And that's important. And I try, and now that I'm out of full-time football, I try and kind of spend as much time. I know they're older and they've got their own things to do. The work, or obviously, as I say, my middle son plays abroad.
How's he getting on in Sweden?
Yeah, he's good. He done a scholarship in America.
Yep.
For 3 years, and he's went full time. This was the first time he's went full time, so he's living at a different environment.
Yeah,
he's a jet setter, Kyle. He likes to.
I bet he's telling you we're not in lockdown over there. We're all right over there.
But they shut the league down, so he come back.
Oh, so he came back here.
Aye, so it was good. It was tough. You know what I mean? Like everybody, you're used to doing certain things, but you've not got your own freedom. But the good thing about it manages the 5 is to spend quality time together.
Yep. Have you got daughters?
Yeah, one.
Are they on TikTok?
Aye, sure.
You had to date with them.
To be fair, I done a few TikToks, but I must have been about 2 bottles of wine down when I was doing the TikTok. I wouldn't do it sober. But listen, that's what it's all about. It's good.
It's what they
but they're private.
Yes.
Are they not out? They were private.
So the boys can't see them, or the lads.
Yeah.
Or the lads can't see them. No, brilliant. So what I want to do is go back to the start. Your upbringing, a wee bit about your upbringing, a wee bit about how you get into football, and coincidentally how you get into Rangers.
Mm-hmm. Well, basically, obviously my brother was a professional footballer. Going to watch him with my dad, and I just wanted to follow in his footsteps. That was the only thing that was in the house. It was football. It was Rangers. My dad was Rangers.
Constant.
My brother was Rangers, and obviously I grew up supporting Rangers and going and watching him. And I started, I think, my first time joining a team was about 8-year-old. Mm-hmm. That's when I get into it. And
did you have any kind of grassroots before that? For me, it was 3.5. We used to play at an indoor nursery league. It was a nursery league.
No,
so it was.
There was nothing like that. It was just like doing the park with my mates.
So you're later than a lot of people now.
Aye, that was it, and just kicking the ball about, and then obviously went and joined a team, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. A team, Mill United in Hamilton, which produced quite a lot of good players.
Yep.
The Young brothers, Darren and Derek Young.
Yep.
Paul Hartley, John Paul McBride. It was at Celtic, so it was a club that produced a lot of players, and they were brilliant.
Not by coincidence, you know, because that doesn't happen.
No, well, in Lanarkshire, there's a lot of obviously good footballers for that kind of area, and there's a lot of good teams. So, no, I was right into it for the word go. As soon as I could walk and talk, watching my brother and going with my dad to watch him. That was me. That was me on that road. And
different from you than other kids, because for me, it was my uncle that got me in it. He played for some teams over in Ireland and was really, really good. My cousins were good, and my brother and uncle, but from fans. But to actually have your brother who played for Rangers, do you know what I mean? That for me is great, because I looked up to my brother in every sense. He taught me how to play football, but I can't even imagine if he played for Rangers.
No, it was great, because you're going to school and he was pretty well known. And everybody was saying, "Oh, that's his brother plays with Rangers," and I thought to myself, "I want a piece of this."
A lot of boys would have crumbled under that pressure. How many times do we see it? How did that not happen to you?
I don't know. It's a strange one. I enjoy pressure for some bizarre reason.
Yep.
I don't know what it is. It's it brings the best out of me.
Yep.
And it followed me throughout my young career. Obviously going and playing and doing really well when everybody's running about the same size, but then people start growing at different times and get to 14, 15-year-old when you're that's at the stage when you're maybe going to get offered a full-time contract, and I had a bit of rejection. At Scotland, schoolboys under 15s, I remember going down to Largs for the trials. I got down to the last thing, it was 30.
Went to them same trials about 8 years later.
I think it was down to the last 30, and there's loads of scouts there, Rangers scouts, Celtic scouts, Everton, Man United, and I knew quite a lot of the scouts because they were all trying to get me to sign.
Brilliant.
So I only played maybe a part of the game, and I come off and everybody's like, listen, you'll get in, no problem. And then getting told I wasn't in the squad of 20 was... it was upsetting. I was upset, and I remember getting back in the car with my mum and dad and greeting all the way home. But I just had something in me when I got out of that car. I went up, lay in my bed, and I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm going to go and show them.
Yeah.
At that stage, I wasn't a big boy. I was only 5'5".
I think our boys of this generation, especially doing Flip the Mindset, I speak to a lot of footballers that get in touch with me about their injuries, about stuff like that, young footballers coming up, even professionals in League 1, League 2, and they've not got what you had there. They've not got that anymore. It's just full of doubt, and there's too much doubt. It's almost like the doubt always overweighs that mindset that you had. No, I want it. I want to go and get it. Why do you think that is? Is that social media? Is that...
I don't know. It's just a generation thing. It could be part of social media. But a lot of people always ask me the question, where do you get that daily determination and desire? I don't know whether you're born there or I get it off my parents. I honestly don't know.
I think that's genetic. I think that's DNA, because honestly, it's like the Conor McGregor. It's like all the greats have this crazy, unbeatable mind. They've got this craziness. It's almost like, did they not? I'm sure I watched a programme about, it wasn't sociopaths or psychopaths or something, and they have this mindset where, no, I want it, I'm getting it. And they say some of the top athletes have the same kind of thing.
Don't get me wrong, see, when you get rejection, it's hard. It's hard, but I just had something about me where I wanted to go and prove these people wrong. And the same thing happened at Rangers. It was a father and son, and they were both from Ayrshire. And they were taking us at Rangers at under 15, and we were playing Celtic, and I got took to the side and saying, listen, it's too physical a game for you. We're not going to play you. And I'm like, all right. And I went away again, and I thought to myself, do you know what? I either throw the towel in, or I go and prove these people wrong. And it's great to see, because you see 2-3 years later, you're actually beginning to chat up the first team door.
Yep. And
you're walking past these guys and they're like, all right, how you doing? I knew you were going to do it. And I'm thinking to myself, you fucking kidding me?
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. You told me. You says to me. So
I hate that we have that.
It's something that I've took, and I see it in modern day. A lot of boys get knocked back for clubs, whether it's at 16, whether it's at 18, if they go full time, and it's no nice to see. And I don't think there's people there to maybe sit down and have a chat with them and point them in the right direction and say it's not the end.
Yep.
It's not the end.
I got rejected. I was in the 17s, 18s, 19s with Green Up Morton, and then a new manager came in. I think it's when remember Alan, or can't remember, James Grady, and Alan was I don't know if you remember, Choco, I think his nickname was.
Chalky Alan McManus.
Aye, he was the manager, and he was manager, and I think they were having fallouts with the main managers, and then they ended up replacing them. Don't know if you remember that. I think it was ended up replacing Davy Irons and stuff. So that all went nuts, and then I get the phone call, listen, you've no made it, but I was top goal scorer. I was flying, and Davy Irons had me up with the reserve saying, you're signing next year. And then to not get that when Alan and that took over was a shocker, but there's no one there. You're sitting, you go home the next day and you're like, Daddy?
It's a worry for me, because I see a lot of it, especially now, during this COVID-19. You see the amount of young, I get the list for the PFA, and you see the amount of young kids that have been let go. Where are they going to go? That's the worry, and I would like to think that there's something in place to help these boys, because they've all not got the same mentality as like myself. So sometimes you need to give them a wee cuddle and tell them, listen, it's not the end of the world.
Here's what you can do.
You might need to take us 2 steps down to go a step back up.
That's what I done. I played.
You need to do that.
I actually took a year out. I was heartbroken. Took a year out. And after that, I got a phone call of Stephen Mooney. Do you know Stephen Mooney? He used to play with Dumbarton, and he goes, I want you to come play with Greenock Juniors at the time, junior football. And I was like, right, what's junior football? And over, it was fucking brilliant. They were all mental. You know what I mean?
Nuts,
they're crazy.
I love going to, I'll be honest with you, sorry for butting in there, I love going to watch the juniors every now and then.
It's great.
It's just that it's a throwback, it's proper, like guys getting wellied into each other.
Aye.
You know what I mean? And
they're so passionate.
Aye, they are.
Like,
but it's a good watch. Sometimes I go and do that. Like if I've got a free weekend, I'll go up to Larkcall Thistle and watch Larkcall Thistle.
That's brilliant.
The juniors, or I'll go somewhere else because I'm football daft. I love football. I love watching amateur football. Some of my mates and even my eldest son plays amateur. It's good to go and watch them. And it's different. For me, it's a throwback to when I started.
Yep.
People getting melted into each other. I enjoy that side of it.
Hitting each other with the corner flags and all that.
I enjoy that side of it.
Junior, I remember I played during Greenock and there was a boy called Lubo, great guy. And this was just before Greenock. And we played at a park somewhere and he'd fallen out with the midfielder. He was two midfielders like you, right? And they were in the middle gear and I could scrap each other, great players. And Lubo disappears. Lads, he took off. Where's he went? He comes out of the changing room with a baseball bat and starts chasing this guy around with a baseball. We're all trying to stop him and I swear to God, it was one of the funniest. And I'm like,
did they get him? No.
Welcome to Greenock. No, I don't know. He tried to, the guy's running and he's trying to hit him with his shoes and all, and then we all split it up. But that was brilliant. I think they were in Mary Hill or something playing. Right. Brilliant. But you're like that, right? Okay. This is what it is.
Listen, it's a bit of passion. Maybe it goes over the top at times, but do you know what? It's good to go and watch all the different kind of football games. I enjoy that side of it.
So I done that.
No people running about with baseball bats.
No, definitely know that. Aye, we can't have that. Don't score a goal, you get heat butted. But no, I done that, and then I was at Greenock for 3 seasons. Got promoted the second season, and then won the league the third season. I scored about 50, 60, 70 goals, and then that's when I had Annan and all that. And I think Kenny McDowell was there. For Rangers at the time. Remember they were about to sign Chris Boyd?
Aye.
And they were there, and I get told Dustin Thingy's come to watch the match. Don't know why they're looking at me, because I couldn't kick my ass. But they watched it, and then they took Chris Boyd instead, and I was like, oh, thank fuck. But that's where, if I should have had more of your mentality, I doubt it. See, back, now I don't. Now I'm solid in the mindset. And that's why I've got flipped the mindset. But then I doubted myself all the time. I mean, I was always doubting myself. My anxiety played up in me. But you seen me play when you were at Clyde. The ball would come to me, and I'd be that. My heart would be palpitating that much, and I'm trying to think it, that it would bounce off me, and then 2 seconds later I'd react. You know what I mean? Oh, it was bad. So I had a lot of problems with that. Did you ever have problems with anxiety, pressure?
No, I'll be honest with you. Listen, in terms of, I probably go in criticism. Nobody enjoys getting criticised.
Yeah.
You play a bad game, you know when you walk in that dressing room and you play a bad game. Yeah. And the fans, listen, I was never one to criticise them. They pay the money. Yeah. I'd be the same. I've got a season book, and if I go and watch Rangers and somebody's not playing well, I'm going to give them a bit. And it was hard because you're one of the guys that are in that stand, basically. But when the press gave you a bit, I used to kind of switch it and use it in a positive way. If somebody criticised me and says, Barry Ferguson was off it today, he never ran the game, he never done this, he never done that, I would look at it and think, right, do you know what? What am I going to do here? The only thing in my mind was to go and train even harder, and then when that next game comes around, make sure I'm the best player in the park.
Yep.
That was the only thing I had in my head.
See, that's just incredible, because that is flip the mindset for anyone watching, any young guys watching. That is flip the mindset. Flipping, when the media say, footballers can't do that as well now. They just, the Twitter will go mental, or any social media outlet will go mental, and you'll see it in the footballer. You'll see it in his body language, that game. You know, I don't think they can, they're as good as it. Maybe because of the way we're conditioned now with social media, but they're not as good as dealing with the criticism now.
See, like during the game, like if you misplaced a pass, and that was probably my strongest point in my game, was my passing and controlling a game. And if I gave one pass away or 2 passes away, you get a groan for you could hear it. Listen, in front of 50,000.
Yeah, you can hear it.
You can hear it.
Rangers.
You can hear 5 or 10,000. The wee grumbles. But I used to say to myself, you know what, go and give me the ball. Give me it again. I'll get away 3rd time. Who cares? Give me it a 4th time. And I would go to make sure I would get that pass until it could go 4 or 5 times. And I would make sure, whatever time I was going to make sure it was right in the button.
It was right.
But that was just the kind of things that I used to, in a way, I wouldn't say I enjoyed the criticism, it just made me even more determined.
Oh, yeah,
It did.
It's fantastic, mate. It's fantastic. I want to talk about captaincy. You got the captaincy at a very young age. I think it was 22. I think 21, 22. How do you deal with that kind of pressure? You've got it off the big Italian medallion, you know what I mean? And you've got this captaincy, 22. We're talking here. You've got a changing room full of all-stars.
Aye, a changing room full of international players.
And he goes, "You man, take the captaincy."
It was a strange one. I think Amo and Advocate at that time weren't seen really eye to eye.
Right.
And I think the guy that was going to step into his shoes would have been Arthur Newman. Most experienced player, played top level.
Phenomenal player.
Best player I've played with.
Is it?
Aye, no in terms of, I look at a player and not just his ability, the way he carried himself, the way he trained, the way he looked after himself.
Yeah.
The guy was a machine.
You shared a flat with him as well, didn't you? So
no, room. I was his roomie.
Room.
He was an absolute nightmare as a roomie because he was quite strict in terms of what time he got up in the morning, had to eat breakfast. I don't like eating in the morning.
That, man.
So he's opening the curtains at 8 o'clock in the morning, right up, breakfast. I'm like, piss off, man. But he got me into a routine, which helped me throughout my career because everybody knew, with all the sports science, everybody says breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So anyway, going on to the captaincy, it was just I never even knew it was coming. I comes in...
Not even an inkling?
No. Advocate calls me into the office, calls me and Arthur Newman into the office, and I'm thinking to myself, right, I think it was a Tuesday. I'm like, I was out the weekend, did I get into any trouble? I think I'm getting into trouble here. So I goes into the office and sit down and I'm thinking to myself, shit, I was out, but I wasn't in any trouble.
Right.
But just
coming back to your flashbacks.
What's he got me in here for? And he just says to me, look, I want you to be Rangers captain. And I just looked at him, kind of paused for 5 seconds, if I'm being honest. And I was like, right, no problem. I wasn't going to say no.
Yeah, you can't say no, can you?
And then he just stood up. That was it, basically. Stood up, shook my hand, and I walked out the door. And I thought to myself, oh my God, this is unbelievable. So there was a meeting in the dressing room 5 minutes later to obviously announce to all the players.
Yep.
And then I'm walking in and I'm sitting and I'm looking about the dressing room thinking, hey, he's played World Cups. We've signed him for 6-7 million quid. He's played 500 senior games at Barcelona and all that sort of stuff.
That's phenomenal.
And I'll be honest with you, when they announced it, all the players were brilliant. You're the right guy for the job.
Any grumbles? You know what it's like to change them off?
Not one. Every single player that was more experienced than me at the time come up to me and says, any help you need, come and ask us.
Wow.
And then at the end, Big Amo come up and fair play to him, shook my hand and says, congratulations. So that shows you what type of character he was. Disappointed.
Shows what kind of man he is.
Aye, and it just went from strength to strength, and then just carrying that burden was just a joy. I was proud for a wee boy with my Rangers strip on, watching the great Rangers players and captains to eventually walk out that tunnel and lead my team out.
Crazy. It's probably the best leading role in any job in Scotland.
I've got to be honest
with
you,
know.
Leading them out, my chest was puffed out, proud as... not just proud...
You did walk with the chest out, didn't you?
Aye, because I was proud that, listen, I've done what tens of thousands of kids dreamt of doing. And I was never going to let them take that away from me.
Hundreds of thousands.
And I made sure, listen, if I was shit in a game, I made sure I gave 100%. And I had a right few bad games, but one thing that nobody could label against me was the work rate and effort I put in. And you walk out in front of that crowd with your pals, your family there. It's probably the proudest day.
Of you.
Aye, because as I say, it's crazy. A lot of people say, oh, I dream of playing with Rangers, but to actually go and sample it
it's different.
And lead,
you
were basically the guy at the front. You've got to go and take the game by the scruff of the neck. I enjoyed that as well. Enjoyed the pressures that came with it.
To be honest, Big Advocate, he must have seen your mindset. And the mindset you're telling me now, that's someone who I want leading my team. that's it. You want that mindset. So he must have kind of, and I think him and Arthur Newman were quite pally with him.
Aye, they were tight. They were
do you
tight.
think they were kind of saying, if we can finger him, we'll turn him into a superstar?
Aye, because I get into a bit of mischief, if I'm being honest, in my younger days. You know what I mean? I get into a bit of trouble. Which, listen, every young kid, I think sometimes you've got to learn from your mistakes. I certainly learned from a couple of early mistakes and a couple of like scraps or whatever you want to call it.
We all make them.
Aye, getting into a bit of trouble. But you know what? I had to learn quick and getting that responsibility, that armband. Because let's be honest, it's not just in and about the club. When you're out and about,
everywhere,
you're carrying that with you.
You're one half of Scotland, basically. The leader of one half of Scotland. Let's be honest, that's what it's like.
In terms of, they've probably seen something like in training. I was always really demanding, even for a young age. I was always like, every captain's got a different way of doing things, but I was always on it, players. And
you don't see that with young kids coming up, taking responsibility, getting on at the team.
That's probably some of the players were looking at, as I mentioned earlier, like, fucking, he never stops moaning, man. But they knew the reason why I done it.
Yep.
Not to slacking off. You've got to train the way you play. You've got to give 100%.
Yep.
And see, if you do that in training, you carry that on into a game.
Absolutely. I've seen that growing up in sides. The only side that it worked was Greenock, when I was at Greenock. Juniors, actually, because there was a boy and you would go on his every word. Big Johnny Boyd would be on me all the time. You know, if you used to play for Dumbarton as well, Big Johnny Boyd, he would be on me constantly. The whole team, see if you did anything. He almost wanted to fight you if you had a bad game. He almost wanted to fight you.
See, I think it goes back to my youth days, my early days in it Rangers, when the reserve days. You don't get reserves now. Now, I was playing with guys who had played 300, 350 games. I was playing with them at 16 and 17, and you seen the demands they put on themselves. And that kind of carried on into like the way they spoke on the pitch. Yep. Sometimes they were brutal.
So but your environment, you would say, your environment is a big factor?
Helped me. And then my youth coaches, I had John Brown, John McGregor, who were fiery customers. Didn't let you away with nothing in terms of, even as an apprentice, you had to train, and then you had to go and clean the shit out the toilets, or clean boots, wash clothes, the training kit and all that. That was a great grounding, and that's something that I think's missing nowadays.
Youngsters will laugh at you now if you ask them to do that, wouldn't they? They would just go, "Clean that? What are you talking about?"
Coming to the end of my career, well, when I went down to England the second time, the Premier League with Birmingham, you'd say to a young boy, "Go and grab us a towel." Now look at you, you'd horns coming out your head. No, I mean, if a first team player says that to me when I was 16 or 17,
Arthur Newman says, "Grab me a towel," you're going,
I'd be away
sprinting.
Aye, get the towel back,
ironing the towel.
Aye, folded. There you go. I'd put it in the tumble dryer, make sure it's hot for them. I'd fold it all. But that's something that I think they need to maybe look at trying to get back. That
you're right.
It's like a proper job. Great, you're playing football in the morning, but in the afternoon you've got to make sure the place is spick and span, and boots are cleaned for the first team, or the kit's all done, everything's all swept round about the training.
I think you're absolutely bang on. I think when I was going professional or pro youth, when the leader, when there was a guy like you in the team, people would always try and almost down them in laughter. So they would kind of make a joke of what they were saying. "Oh, you're always moaning," because you had players in the team, as you know, that will sit about the third division, the second League One, League Two. They'll sit there. They've not progressed for a few years, but they don't want to be like that serious all the time. They're more, "Oh, stop moaning you," and all that stuff. You've not got that. And then almost
I'm serious in entering there. I'll be honest with you, entering a play, whether it's in holiday when the kids were wee, I was playing them at table tennis or pool, I'd beat them.
Yep. There you go.
They were 5 or 6.
Right off the face.
And I take that in even into my management. Now, you know a couple of players that I manage, and they'll tell you what I'm like. I'm off the pitch, I tell you, I'll do anything for them. Any help they need. Not just football. Any like issues off the pitch, family problems. The door's always open. If I can't help you, I'll put them, or I'll point them in the right direction to get that help. But see, when that whistle goes, guys, I need 100%. I need it, and I feel I get that for them. I give them a bit back before we start training, and I feel that way of working as a manager. is something that I never done when I first started in management, but I learned that. And as I say, I'm not scared to. You're always learning. You're always. I made mistakes in my early management time, and now that I've learned.
Make mistakes anyway, don't you? I done my first
I just
podcast.
feel it's the best way. I feel it's the best way to do it, and I think it's important that a manager's approachable as well with all the issues that are going on now in life.
I think any young footballer now that looks to a manager wants them to be approachable, wants them to be that father figure. Listen, I'll do anything for you. I'll treat you like a man.
Aye.
But when we go, we give that respect because it conditions them as well.
Aye, and I say to them before it as well. Listen, this doesn't need to be football, as I said. Life.
So you're talking about coaching there, how do you? So you were coached like a man off like Walter Smith and that. How do you then? So you've just basically told you how do you deal with the management now? You being the manager now, so are you bringing back that respect? Listen, no, you need to respect people, stuff like that. Almost the Walter Smith, Tommy Burns effect.
Mix. It's a bit. I'll be honest with you.
Because Cy Ferry talks about it a lot as well.
I've got to mix it. I can't be as probably brutal as it was back when I started. So I've got to be conscious of the fact that some guys can take. How could I put it? Not a bit of stick, but they can get told.
Take a bit of grounding.
That it's not right. You've got to obviously. Every people's got different characters, characteristics, and I kind of. When I sign a player, I kind of look into that, you know what I mean? And some you might need to put the arm round and say it in a different way, or other boys I can just maybe be straight to the point and they take it on board and they're like, right, you know what, I'm going to show him. So there's a bit of mix for my younger days, and also like as time went on in football, it has changed. There's no doubt that it's changed. It's changed big time. For the better. I'm not too sure.
I don't think it is. No,
I'm not too sure about it. I preferred.
We need to bring a bit of the old stuff back, especially coaching. I heard you speak about coaching. It's over.
I'm passionate about coaching. And
I stopped my badges because it was just.
I think coaching's simple. I think coaching.
It should be simple,
But I think football's a simple game made complicated with a lot of coaches. Now, I'm a big believer in you give them the basics. And then maybe another one or 2 pointers. I think if you hit them with too much information, they're going on that pitch and they're thinking, shit, the gaffer's just told me 5, 6 things.
You don't know what to do, honestly.
Then they start getting mixed up, then they're unsure what to do. So that's what I've limited it in terms of information I gave each individual.
You see a difference there?
Aye, definitely.
Big time.
Is when I first came into coaching, drawing arrows and doing all this and that, which...
Arsene Wenger.
Aye, but I've done all my badges and my BA Pro licence. I just think the way that I'm doing it, I'm not saying it's the right way, but I think it's the best way for me to get my point across to my boys, and I think the boys are getting more out of it the way that I'm approaching it now.
Right, yep. I want to go and do my badges, do them and then coach, but it was when I was doing a couple of the lower badges, it was littered with madness, just constant. Thinking, what are we training them to be robots? Almost we are. We're training them to be money robot, like just balances, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. See when you go and watch all the youths, the now, or the under 20s or 21s, I don't even know what they call it now. There's that many changes. I think there needs to be an overhaul, if I'm being honest with you, the way things operate.
Remember Drew, you know Drew Todd? You remember he said that? Says it needs to be a whole overhaul, 10-year overhaul. Just
I go and watch all the same team. I go and watch all the Premier League teams, and every single one of them play the same way.
Right.
As you mentioned there, they're robots and they're scared to go out of position. For me, go and express yourself.
It's the personalities.
I say that to my players, go and express yourself. That's what football's about. If you're not going on that pitch with a smile on your face, I think there's a problem. Football's the best game. It's the best game. And when I turn up to training, I go on that pitch. It's serious when we get going, but I'm buzzing to go on the pitch. I'm smiling. I'm buzzing to see my boys turn up. And it's great when you look back, take a step back, in training, and you see them with a smile on their face. And I say to them when we stop for 2 or 3 minutes to stretch, go and have a laugh and a joke.
Well, that's what Matty Flynn says. Matty Flynn's playing with you now. I was texting him and he was like, oh, you got Barry on and stuff like that. He says, best manager I've ever had. Tactile approach, looks after the boys, everything. And for him to say that, because he's normally like, you know what I mean? But he's had a lot of managers.
He's looking for a new contract, isn't he?
I bet he is. He wants a new contract, don't you, Matty?
No, listen.
I'll keep
it's up to other guys to say whatever they feel, but I just feel I've got a good balance now.
Yep.
And I think it's important, and I'll always go back to, I think it's important that a manager's there not just to coach and manage them, also to help them as well in life.
You do. So many footballers I talk to, so many that are on the heap, especially if you reflect the mindset. They come and talk to me about my injuries and stuff like that, and they come talk about what happened to them and all that. They all just lost love for football. It was too serious. It was too not too tactical, but it was almost they were just getting too much, as we were talking about. Too much information, too much madness. There was no personality from the man, like, you know, that personal approach from the manager to them. They didn't have that. It just felt they were
it's hard. That's one thing I do find hard. I mean, I've got 18 to 20 players, and you can't get round them all in a training night, because we've only got an hour and a half, an hour and 45 max. So what I try and do, I try and identify 4 each night, going 2 minutes. How's things? All right? You enjoying it? How's things at home? Family all right?
Yeah.
That goes a long way.
It does.
So I try and do it 4 on a Tuesday, 4 on a Thursday, 4 on a Saturday, and then I'll go back to a different 4. I think it's always good to show that you're interested, not just in how they're training, but interested in their personal life. And I think it goes a long way. Then I feel that makes them go out on the pitch and run through a brick wall for you.
Play for you. They will play for you in that, and they'll feel more. They'll feel as a person. Footballers are humans. We do forget that, don't we? We do forget they're humans. So let's talk. Who did you look up to at the club at Rangers?
My favourite player growing up was Ian Durrant.
Right, okay, Durrant.
Obviously my brother played, but
your brother's going to hate you for that, man.
Nah, that's just that. I've just got to be honest. I thought Ian Durrant was a fantastic player. I watched him as a young boy. He was like the proper number 10, running beyond the ball, scoring goals, and then got that horrendous injury.
Yep.
But to come back for that was unbelievable. He was never probably he was never the same player. He had to change his game a bit, but he was kind of one that you kind of looked up to. But you looked up to him, McCoy, Ian Ferguson, Stuart McCalls, Richard Goffs. All these guys had crazy mentalities, just winners. I mean, I could rhyme off another 10, but their guys just used to go and just look at them sitting in the dressing room, hear them talk for 2 minutes, and think to yourself, you know what it's all about.
Aye, what a feeling.
Aye, I just used to stand, and when you were picking the kit up, just used to listen to their conversations, and they would be talking about the game on Saturday. Listen, me go out the first 10 minutes, we go for them, and I think to myself, I want a piece of that.
I want that.
I want a piece of that.
And you're buzzing, you're not. I feel a lot of players who are at that brink shy away from it a bit more now.
Aye.
They don't go, I want that. I want in. Get me in. Any cost, I'll do it to get in. They're a wee bit like, oof. You know what I mean?
And they probably seen me coming up and training with the first team. Who's this young kid? He's not going to take my place. Because when I trained with him at 16, 17, they never held back.
Yeah. Did you give them it back though?
Aye, I was still growing at that stage. I wasn't as physically strong as I wanted to be. I used to get right through me in training. I'd be like, oh my God, man. But it was brilliant. But I knew right away they would help me. But they also says, you're not coming to take my place. And I'd be like, right, fair enough, but I will be taking your place.
The wrong person to say that to.
I will, because I'm going to go and work and make sure I do it.
Yeah. What about, you mentioned Gaza. Gaza's the hero of many, just like you.
I mean, that's another one.
Phenomenal guy.
What can I say about him? He came to Rangers, had the same, played World Cups, played in Italy, Newcastle, Tottenham. What a football player, and what a guy. He was
phenomenal.
The players that I mentioned, he would always take time out for the young kids
to come and talk to you. That's brilliant.
And he would go and spend 5 minutes, and it would be like, if we had a youth game or a reserve game, he would ask you, how'd you go on? What was the score? Did you set up any goals? Not just me, everybody. And I just thought that's
class.
You're talking about a legend, man. Taking time out to come and speak to we Scottish guys that are on apprentices. And I always live in me the time that
You
he
had
would
for people.
spend. Aye, because he was just a genius. He trained with him.
What was his training? What was he like in training? How did he
An-
train?
Trained like an absolute beast.
Aye.
Aye.
So no, when the training went, they carry on for him. No nonsense.
No.
Just what about when he's pegging people and training that? Just that wee
fully
bit.
nonsense before and after training.
And then,
But this is the difference of top players. When that whistle goes to start training, they've got the blinkers on. They're focused.
Wow.
And that's the biggest thing that I took out of like training with all these guys and watching these guys. And he was just some of the things he done. You just laugh. He was a phenomenal football player, but above that, a phenomenal guy.
Yeah.
And just to see him, the way things have went from.
Yeah, what do you feel like now with
just a bit of sadness, because you can see that he had maybe a lot of like people who maybe hung on to him a wee bit.
Yeah.
And where are these people now?
Aye.
But I'm glad that he's obviously still big news, and you see him. He's had a couple of relapses, but he's come out it. You just want to see him fit and healthy.
You just want to see him do well and be fit and healthy, don't you?
As I says, I'll never forget when I was a 16, 17-year-old kid, that guy coming in and speaking to you. That meant so much, not just to me, I think.
Doesn't happen that often. The guy will come in and say, how was your reserve game? One of the best players about, you know.
Yep. That's just the type of guy he was. I mean, he was brought up the same as all. You know what I mean? Just in a normal housing estate. And
the council houses.
Lived the dream.
Yep.
But for a guy to go and live the dream and play at the level he did, to go and spend that 5 minutes or even a couple of minutes, it didn't matter. See, even if he walked past and he says, all right, how you doing? He'd be like, oh, guys just spoke to me. That's me, I've made my day.
Now you'd be tweeting it. Look, I just so
I know.
back to him and all that.
I know.
So what was the influence of your brother, Derek, on your football career?
Of course, he was a big influence in terms of he had obviously been there and done it and made the breakthrough and got into the first team. And he was always there to give me a bit of guidance. You know what I mean?
Did you just want to be better than him?
I was convinced that I was going to be. I had to have that.
Yeah.
I had to. I couldn't go in and think to myself, I'm just going to be all right and I'm going to be the same as my brother or not as good as my brother.
As we were talking about before, mind, like normally if your brother or a dad's been good at football, a lot of the sons or little brothers, they can't live up to that pressure. Why do you think you were different there?
I don't know. Do you know what? I get asked this question a lot and I do think about it. I do think about it. I don't know. I just wanted to be better and go and achieve more.
Just a really strong personality, a really strong mindset.
It's crazy. It's hard to describe why I've got that. I don't know whether it's in my genes or it comes from within. I just had that. But maybe it was a bit of rejection when I was younger.
Yep.
Maybe it was the fact
you had that chip on your shoulder to just prove everyone wrong. You thought, no, I'm proving you all wrong.
Aye. I would say it's a bit of everything, and it's the same that I'm throughout my full career. I had a few knocks as well, and I had to come back. I had to go and reinvent myself a couple of times.
Yep.
That's what I would call it, reinvent myself.
Flip the mindset is what you would call it. Actually, flip the mindset.
No, he was a big influence. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. A big influence. Him and my dad, massive. Dad was just the perfect dad in terms of no on the sidelines. My dad would always be at the back watching games. You get into the car, you had a good game as a young boy, you had a great game in your mind, you'd walk in, your dad, you done all right, son, you done all right. So there's always that bit of improvement.
Constant, yeah.
Right, how am I going to get better? I thought I was there, but he was quietly, he was brilliant, my dad. Brilliant. But both of them were massive for me. Both of them were massive. Yes. And my dad's a kind of strong character. Pretty easy, like kind of laid back type, a bit different for me, but deep down he's got that bit about him. He's got that bit about him, and so is my brother, and so is the kids, so is my kids.
You see it in them,
and so is my brother's kids. Wow. They've got a bit of it.
Love it.
Which is good to see. Certainly in this day and age.
Means they won't get beaten by anything. They'll keep coming back, and if they do get beat, they'll keep coming back. If they don't get a job, they'll keep going. Love that. So I remember the UEFA Cup Final, the Zenit, 400th game. Is that true? So your 400th game for the club fell in the UEFA Cup. That's class.
Bizarre.
What was it like to captain the side?
Through the tournament was unbelievable. Probably up there with my biggest disappointment. We never turned up that night.
2-0, wasn't it?
Aye, we never turned up. Maybe too many games in terms of that season. But we had still a good enough squad. I think if you ask any of the boys, myself, I was bang average that night. It wasn't good enough for me. And we never played at the levels we had played the previous.
Yeah.
The semi-final, the quarter-final, the last, all the other legs. We just never produced it in the night. But to captain your team to a major European final, I mean, it doesn't get much better. It would have been amazing if I could have won it.
It's weird.
It's something that I do think back on sometimes when you see Rangers and in Europa League. You think to yourself, see, I was 90 minutes away from picking that trophy up. That would have been. I've won leagues, I've won Scottish Cups, I've won League Cups.
It's the if.
I've captained. It was just to go up and pick that trophy up. Would have been the pinnacle, probably. It would have been, but it was a weird one after it. It was just so you were down. You know what I mean. I was really done after that because I knew my performance wasn't good enough. I just wish I could get another European final.
Obviously, being captain of the squad, I think that gave you much more pressure than other players. Aye,
but again, I enjoyed leading them out. I mean, you've got 200,000 fans in Manchester. You're travelling down and you're seeing bus fees of fans going down and the stadium's full of your fans. It's just that bit of disappointment that you never performed in the night.
Yep.
That was a bit of done my head in.
How do you recover from that?
Recover for getting beaten in a European final, it's a tough one. But do you know what? You need to kind of put it to the side and just move on.
You just turn up at training on the Monday or the Sunday and just...
Aye, and it was a bit done. You can tell the atmosphere.
How long does that last for? Like a week?
No, you need to get around everybody and say, listen, we can't. It happens in life. Sometimes you don't get what you want. It's not just laid in a plate for you.
Yeah.
So the only way you run about this is we go out and we try and work as hard as possible.
Did we win the league that year?
No.
Did we not?
Because we had too many games. Remember, it was that
Yep.
crazy 5 games in 10 days or 12 days or something like that. So, in my career, I look back and I just thought, if I could have done that.
It's one of them ones. Yeah.
Aye.
So inducted to the Hall of Fame, Rangers Hall of Fame, 26.
Yep.
26. You're in the Rangers Hall of Fame. That's something. I'm not even in my house's Hall of Fame, man. I walk in my missus' house and there's pictures of the exes in the hall.
I know, it was a weird, that was kind of weird. At 26, that's something that you kind of expect.
80.
When you expect you're retired.
Aye.
But listen here, if you're going to induct me into the Hall of Fame, I'm grabbing it with both hands because when you walk through the front doors and you go into that marble staircase, your name's up in that panel. So I'll take it all day.
Something to be really
but when you
proud
look
of.
at that panel, you think to yourself, look at the players up in that panel, your John Greggs and guys like that. Phenomenal players.
All the great captains as well, you know. So I want to talk to you about managers because we flip the mindset. You're a manager now, so it's only right that we talk about managers. Who inspired you as a manager?
I wouldn't point one manager out. I would point all the managers I've played under, certainly in my early days at Rangers, kind of put me on that pathway. For Walter Smith and Archie Knox and John McGregor and John Brown, my youth, into Advocate. I mean, they were really strong in terms of really demanding managers. Yeah. Because at that time you could be, if you never played well, you get basically told. Aye. In a certain way.
But you would have liked that a wee bit.
Aye, I did. Yes. I liked that because if I get told that, I'd be like, right,
show you next week.
Aye, well, I'll show you next game. And then Advocate came in and then it was like kind of more tactical. you learn that the side of the game the Dutch way, which I loved. I loved because it was probably something that I hadn't really experienced before. So that was all new to me, and I was right into that.
Unreal that the Dutch training.
Aye, you know the way
12-year-old and
the way they produce
one's there,
players.
one's there, and they're just popping the ball.
It's brilliant. His training was just. I couldn't wait when one training session finished, say on a Monday. I couldn't wait till the Tuesday.
Wow. You don't hear that often.
No, that's the way it was, because it was passing, it was technical stuff, and then you were learning about the game. And then Big McLeish, I can't not mention Big McLeish. I had a great relationship with him.
Yep.
As I did with all my managers, the early managers. I was going to say I didn't have a great relationship with
Talk
Paul
about that
later. But they three were probably, in terms of first team managers, the ones that I learned all different side of the games.
Yeah. What kind of style did you like? Or how did you like to be managed?
I like to be told straight.
Yeah.
I don't like a manager that goes round about things.
Beats around the bush.
Like, he'll go away and maybe speak to somebody else or speak to the press. I like a manager telling me in the dressing room, hey, that's not fucking good enough. Or I need more for you. That's the type of manager I liked.
So it is interesting how you cope with a modern way of coaching when you've been coached. When
it's
you
difficult.
Enjoy to be coached that way.
It's difficult. I'll be honest with you, it's probably the hardest thing for me in management is the way that I would want to manage. I can't really do it. I've got to mix it a wee bit.
Yeah.
Which I've learned today. Listen, you've got to learn to change sometimes.
Adapt, aye.
I'm still fiery.
Right, so you still got that wee bit.
I'm still fiery. I can let it off a bit.
Yeah.
But I think there's a time and a place for that.
Absolutely.
If the guys are not doing it, they know. I went off my head maybe 3 times last season, which is good.
It's not bad.
I think we played 30 odd games, so that's no bad.
That's not bad.
That was at half time, and I got a reaction.
Yep. So it worked.
We were either drawn or down.
Because the players.
So I think there's a time to do it. I think if you're coming in and you bang, bang, bang every minute,
the
boys are like, fucking gives a break here. But there's a time and a place, and when standards do dip a bit, then I need to be strong on it.
Yeah. What? See, you're playing really, really well, and then you've got a few injuries to deal with. So you've had your fair share of injuries in your time, especially at Blackburn. I'm really interested in injury recovery. That's what I help people with. I help some footballers with it, and I had it myself. 4 knee surgeries. I've got my 5th in a couple of weeks. I'm getting old. I'm getting I think they're replacing the whole front of my knee now. So brutal. But you, how do you? I just want to tell young players, especially the ones that may be injured now. How do you recover? What do you do? What do you have to be like? Do you have to make your rehab 100%? Can you have them 2 weeks to feel sorry for yourself, or how did you deal with it?
The most serious injury I had was at Blackburn. Obviously, I fractured my full kneecap. It was split into 4.
Oh, so you've done the patella. I fractured a bit of my patella as well.
My top half of my kneecap flipped, and it was facing me.
Yep.
And the bottom half broke into 4 places.
Oh my God.
So it was one of the ones. It was at Newcastle. It was actually the late Gary Speed. He never meant it. It was just a clash. I've went to turn with the ball and I've just clashed knees. He's fine. My knees splattered all over the place. So obviously I went onto the gas and all that, and they sent me straight. We went in the bus. I lay on the floor, obviously gassed, and I had like a big bubble wrap thing run about my leg to keep it, and I was obviously drugged up.
I remember that. The bubble wrap.
And they sent me straight to the surgeon, scans come off, and basically they told me there's a chance that you might not recover fully for this, which was a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
So you then wait 24 hours to get into surgery, and then I was in hospital for 8 days after the surgery, and the surgeon come back, brilliant surgeon, straight as well, which I liked. I says to him, when I kind of came out, I wasn't as out my head as I was in terms of all the gas and air and all that sort of stuff. I says to him, look, just be honest with me. I want you to be brutally honest. And he says, no, will be brutal honest. The operation went really well, but there is a possibility that you might not fully recover and you might not get back to the level you've been at. So that was a bit of a shock. You get home, I wasn't allowed. I had to be obviously on the sofa for 4 weeks with a machine that moved my leg up and down to make the muscle no waste away.
Didn't need the atrophy, man.
So you've got a lot of thinking. That's a lot of thinking time. And again, what do I sit here and sulk and think to myself, this could be over? Or do I speak to the physio, Dave Fever, who was the top physio? He was at Man United and he went to Blackburn. Do I speak to him and say, right, this rehab, let's get a blast?
Yeah.
And when I went in, eventually I come off the crutches, I says to him, right, do you know what, no holding back here. And he says to me, you will have a couple of instances where you might need to come off it. I had to go back in and get wires cut off my knee, which when I get back to the jogging stage, I was running with a limp. Right. And I had to go back in and get another operation, get bits of the wire cut.
Because of the wire, you were running with a limp?
Aye, and then I come back again, and then that then starts to play, I'm running here with a limp here, is this ever going to go away? And he was brilliant, he was tough on me. Yep. I hate, the reason why I hate swimming is because I was in that swimming pool every single day. I never get near the pool now.
I hate swimming as well.
Never get near it because I was in a pool morning, afternoon for 6 months.
Down at that pool, even doing knee movements.
So
brutal.
He was immense for me. When I got a wee bit done, he done the best thing, was go and take a week, go spend with the family, go back up to Scotland. That was brilliant.
Yep.
So when you're getting a bit done, when you're in the gym and you're seeing your teammates out in the training pitch and you're thinking to yourself, I'm 4 or 5 months away from even being close to them.
Really is. Yep.
He would then take the opportunity to say, go on holiday or go back up to Scotland with the wife and the kids. And that was brilliant. Family time for me is most important time.
Extra motivation as well.
And then I would come back refreshed, ready to go again.
Yep. You know what you're doing it for.
We had a wee stumbling block, let's go again. And then I get through it.
That's
and
really
eventually come back. Played our first pre-season game in Germany. I'll never forget this. Against, I think it was a third tier team. First 2 minutes, it's a 50-50 tackle, and I'm thinking to myself, I could see it coming. Now I need to go in here because I need to see how this reacts. And as the boys hit the ball and I've hit the ball at the same time, his studs have come up and hit my knee. And I've had to get 4 stitches in my knee, but he's actually whacked my knee. And then I've known, right, this knee's fine now.
Right,
and that was it.
So you were
off
back.
I go. And then that was me, never looked back. Touch wood. I get some problems, stiffness when it's cold.
I get that, yeah.
But fantastic surgeon, brilliant physiotherapy in terms of like what I'll go back to is you're right into flip the mindset. If he seen me getting a wee bit agitated, because I would always go out and I would always want to see what my teammates are doing on the training pitch, and he could see it was getting to me because I want to go out there.
Go away, flip the mindset, come back.
Let's work for the next 3 days. See for Friday. Go back to Scotland.
See, that's what was needed. I didn't get that, of course, but 3 times I had to watch for 7 months to 15 months.
It's tough.
And I would watch people, because my knee was that bad, I stuffed mine that bad. I watched Peter Werison do his ACL, right, a week after or something like that. He was back when I was just halfway through my recovery. 14 months I had. He was back in 7.
See, I think it's important when you've got a serious injury like that you've got somebody who knows what kind of character you are, and he knew what I was like. I was captain of the team. He knew I was he knew I loved training. He worked. He honestly, he killed me. He killed me. So we came to a decision that was 3 weeks hard work, a week away to spend with your family, and it was the best thing he'd done for me.
That's the difference.
And he got me back, and it was the same when I've had major ankle problems as well. I've had 6 operations in both ankles, and the physios at Rangers were the same as well. They knew that when you're on that bike or walking on the treadmill, you're looking out and you're seeing your mates.
You're beating yourself up constantly.
Kicking a ball, and you're like that.
It's really bad.
So they would do the same thing because they knew that I would start to get a wee bit unsettled. and I would get a bit ratty with them because they would ask me to do things. I'd tell them where to go, and they'd be like, right, now it's time to give Fergie a wee break here. send them away. Then I would come back in buzzing to go working again. So it's important that they sense what type of character you're.
But absolutely.
In terms of getting setbacks, I had 2 setbacks with my knee. I had a couple of setbacks with my ankle. Don't give up. You can't give up. You can't. It's just part and parcel of rehab. You're going to get niggles. Whether it's no even. Sometimes I was getting niggles in my calf and my hamstrings, and it was nothing to do with the injury, the operation I had. So you've got to be mindful. I'm going to get these wee things.
These other wee knocks.
You just need to bear with it.
Yeah, I'm proud of myself because I went back even the third time, and then Gus McPherson took me to Queen's Park.
I know Gus.
I was loving it there, and he was so good with me. He was the best with me. He was brilliant. He says, "There's no pressure. Train well. Love it. I was enjoying it. I was flying in training." And that's when it snapped fully. And they were only being sick and all that. But I was still proud that, I gave it a go. I went back, and then the Scotland doctor, he actually took me for surgery that night. And he said I wouldn't play again. So basically, or he said you could, but it would take, your chance in it. Talking about injuries there, so you think if, obviously, the lower leagues, a lot of people don't get that kind of treatment. So you think in the way you were and the level you were at, that treatment you got elongated your career? Because in the lower leagues, you always hear of it happening. You are really, for me, I was left in the heat. I was left there saying, it was on your head. Your knees are on your head, play. So I'm playing through it. You watched me play through it. Remember, I was limping? You're
playing at the top level. You've got the best physios to get you through the rehab. You're getting the best surgery, and you're getting the best rehab.
Yeah, because my physio was under pressure.
But the issue I've got is, I'm managing at a lower league. Some of my players have had injuries, and there's no no help for them. Clubs can't afford surgeries at $4,000 or $5,000. It's a lot of money at lower league level. So I think there's got to be some sort of system in place, or some. I don't know whether the SFA or the PFA or the SPFL can do something. Get like a kind of
even that you loan it would be good. You loan the money and pay it back.
Just some sort of, I don't know how to put it. They've got to come up with some sort of system in place that if a League 1, League 2 player suffers a serious injury, there's got to be something in place that they can help them. Some sort of pot of money. Whether that comes from the league, whether that comes for the PFA, whether that comes for the SFA, there's got to be some sort of help, because I have seen quite a lot of players suffer. Guys who I played with in my younger days at Rangers go on and suffer like a serious injury and not get the same sort of surgery and rehab as you would have got at the top level. Absolutely. So I think they need to really seriously consider that.
Yeah. Love it. Let's move on to the nitty gritty. Here at Flip the Mindset, we talk about people's highs and lows of their career.
Aye.
So we need to touch on, what I'm going to say. We need to touch on the Boozegate incident, right? It was a Boozegate, wasn't it? They called it. That madness for the media.
Before I say, Boozegate.
It's just a wee booze, isn't it?
It started drinking at 3:30, 4 in the morning to 7:30. They were making it was like a 24-hour binge.
Yeah.
It was 3.5, 4 hours a few pints.
It's madness.
It wasn't as bad as people made it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
And,
it's interesting to hear that, because a lot of people still don't know what actually went on.
People actually ask me, how long were you drinking for? Well, we come back from Holland, we get in about 3 o'clock. 2:30, can't remember exactly what time. And the boys were asking me, allowed a couple of beers, there was burgers and like sandwiches, because you get that sort of stuff, like fatty stuff into your system after a game. And we were allowed to go and have a few beers. Now, I maybe had one or two too many, or two extra. And I suffered for it. Me and Alan McGregor did.
It happens, isn't it? Because there was more people drinking. We don't need to go into that.
I wouldn't. Do you know what? I'm the type of guy, and you probably ask people about me, I would never mention on the guys.
No, of course.
You know what I mean? I would never do it.
But I'm just saying that in theory, there was more people drinking, and we know. I I've hung about with loads of professional footballers, so have you, partying with them, in Scottish football particularly. they like a booze. They love to drink. And back in the day, it was just drinking constantly. So just because the media picks something up, in my opinion, and the media, for me, and for what I fight against now, I think they are the most negative source, or the negative, source or force in our society now. They cause all sorts of problems, and I know they need a story. I've seen you writing that they need the story, and that's fine. That's what they work as. But to single two guys out there, a captain and a keeper, when they say that Presley found them, but why would Presley then report that to the press? How did that? Like, I don't get it. Was it you sticking the Vicky to subsequently to the media?
It was to the.
Did they snap you in the hotel, or did Presley find you? Or did
No,
they just
it
snap
was the Vickies was to the press.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The media. Yeah,
it wasn't to the fans. It wasn't anything to do with that. I mean, there was nobody more prouder than me to play with my.
So was that because team. Is that because what they said, or because they snapped you?
They snapped us. Aye.
See, that's
so it wasn't even to the written media. It was to the snappers.
Yeah.
So
the individual
then all the stuff,
there.
all the stuff that came out after it. Do you know what? Again, that was hard. I had to send my family in that away.
See, I think that we create our own rubbish. We create that. We create that. If they snappers aren't there, not as done.
Aye. So that was probably the most difficult period in my career.
Did you say that was the lowest point of the career?
Aye. Yep.
That's hard because you went through a lot.
I'll give you a few reasons for that. I was captain of my country. Mm-hmm. I lost that.
Yep.
I was captain of the team I supported as a boy. And lost that. And I knew that was the end of my Scotland career. And I was 99.9% sure it was the end of my Rangers career. But Walter Smith was good enough. I get suspended 2 weeks, stay away, sent the family away. And it was just like constant every day. But you know what? What I done was wrong. I've no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. But it was ultimately the end of my career at Rangers in Scotland. So the 2 weeks I was suspended, I had to do a lot of thinking. I had to think to myself, first, I didn't think I was going to get the opportunity to come back and play with Rangers, but Walter Smith was good enough to allow me to do that. Yep. He probably didn't want to do it, if I'm being honest with you, and I could totally understand that. But he gave me the opportunity to say like your Cheerios to kind of the fans and the teammates, and then that summer I had to go and rebuild myself again. I had to go and totally. I was tired with this. No,
see, this is what I call flip the mindset.
No, I had to. From it, there was quite a number of clubs interested in me. Mm-hmm. Managers were desperate to get me. Mm-hmm. Board level, no, we don't want them. Mm-hmm. Now that was hard to take. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, well, do you know what? There's got to be somebody that's going to take the chance. There's got to be one. I had so much interest. Managers, as I said, wanted to. Some really good clubs had the opportunity to go abroad and go to MLS, but I made the decision. I had to stay in Britain. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't going to stay in Scotland. Yeah. I wouldn't have played with anybody else. Yeah. So I had to go, and there was only one place I had to go and prove myself, and that's the Premier League. Mm-hmm. So eventually McLeish, who I had played under at Rangers, decided to bite the bullet and take a chance. Now, I know he was nervous about it, but I told him, don't be nervous. Just wait till you see.
He knows what's going
to. He knows what he's getting in terms of football. I just think all the baggage, but it was probably the best thing I'd done, because I commuted. I kept my family up. I didn't want to take the kids at that stage back out of school. Right. So it was great for me. I could go away. I could fully focus on one thing, and that was kicking that round ball. Mm-hmm. Make sure I'd do extra in training, because obviously on the Monday I had an apartment down there. Mm-hmm. I'd do a bit extra on the Monday. Yep. I could do a bit extra on the Thursday afternoon. I could do a wee bit extra on the Friday if I wanted before a game. Mm-hmm. So it was brilliant for me. It was the best thing that happened to me in terms of going down and improving and shutting a lot of people up. Yes. What I'd done was totally wrong. Totally get it. But again, I always go back to everybody makes mistakes. I made an absolute crazy mistake. But I went and I showed that I could still perform at the highest level.
Yeah, exactly. For any of us, for most of us, I've talked to a lot of people like this leading up to this interview. They're like, he's young, he's a boy. He's stuck he's not stuck the ficky up to the fans. He's stuck it to the people who've packed him as such.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the fans were with you. We knew that. We knew what had happened. We knew. But obviously, when it gets taken to the media, they just do all. The media controls everything.
It get blown up,
you can understand it. They blow it up to something that's just crazy.
Do you know what? I kind of knew it was going to get blown up.
Yeah,
I knew it, but that summer was because you're kind of. I was in a place that I'd never been before.
Mm-hmm.
I was always under contract. I was always clubs were always wanting me to try and prize my way for Rangers again. I had the opportunities, and then it goes for people. A lot of managers want me to obviously board level saying, no, we're not taking this baggage.
Yeah.
And I totally understood that for the managers. So it came down to a couple of clubs. I was about to go to the ML. I was going to go and say, right, I'm going to go. But I just thought to myself, no, if I go there, I'm out of sight.
Yeah. Yeah. You just face it, smash it.
What have I built myself? What have I built myself upon in my career?
Yeah.
Facing up to things. And that's what I done. I went down to Birmingham and, as I says, really focused. I was bang on it's the fittest I have ever been. Bang on the button. I was at it. I was just had that steely determination that I carried on throughout my career, but it just went above and beyond that one. And what a time I had. I loved it. What a time I had.
Would you say so? You've played in various leagues. Did you enjoy better playing in England or Scotland? So the standard in England is better on a higher level, but in Scotland you have to win every game. You have to win every trophy.
I take Scotland all day.
I'll
take Scotland all day with the pressures that come on. I love the fact that you've got to win. A draw is not good enough. A defeat's a disaster. That's what I built myself up on. And to go out and get the pressures every week just brought the best out in me. Now I find it a bit different when you go down to England where you come off in a draw or a defeat. Everything's all right. I couldn't get my head round about that.
Some teams it's great.
I couldn't get my head round about that.
Yeah.
I just loved the pressures that I was under constantly.
Yeah. So I like this question because when I was writing my questions, I liked it because your mindset is not built for that.
No.
Your mindset is not built for that.
Strange. It's like going in and playing Arsenal in the Cup Final.
Yeah.
We beat them 2-1.
Yep.
Now we're going in and as total underdogs, everybody's like, listen, it's 3-4 nothing to Arsenal
that
here.
When you were Birmingham, wasn't it?
Aye.
Yeah.
And I'm going in, I'm like, no, we're going in to win this game.
Listen, did you play that game with a broken rib?
Aye, 2 broken ribs.
Is that true?
Aye, 2 broken
ribs.
Aye. Wow. After 15 minutes.
What? How did what?
Just adrenaline get me through.
Really?
I missed the party.
Any madness? Any
No, I took tablets, anti-inflams and tramadol just to get through it.
Did you know?
I knew something wasn't right. I knew something wasn't right. But do you know what? The adrenaline of a cup final playing at Wembley gets you through.
That's phenomenal.
But I missed the party and everything after it.
Hospital?
No, I couldn't even go. I got injections into my ribs and then I went to hospital the following day.
Worth it?
Aye, it was worth it. Of course it was worth it. But I missed, I think it was 4 weeks I missed after that. So, 2 broken ribs I played through. No nice. It wasn't nice.
I played a school game and I broke my collarbone. Still pure sticks out. I broke it twice. Broke my collarbone in the 64th minute and I played for another 20 minutes. That was mental. It was just seizing up when I'm running and all that. But the adrenaline gets you through. But I came off eventually, man.
But you felt it as soon as the game finished. Oh, the pain just came. But it was a weird one. I never really, just when you were out of breath a wee bit, it caught quite a lot.
Yeah.
But no, that's some of the things you need to do, innit?
Got to talk about the praise with the Bayer Leverkusen gaffer. What were you, 20?
I think about 19,
20 years old. Playing in a team of all-stars. I mean, we were, as you said, they were top players we had. And he singles you out for praise. Do How do you not think you're Billy Big Boss after that? How do you just focus and take that in and use it? Because that's what you've done. You didn't think you were Billy Big Boss.
I think if anybody says I don't like praise, they'll be kidding themselves on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, when I seen it, and he mentioned what I was worth, I was like, it's great, but
what do you say? 15,
I never allowed.
What was it? 15 million.
I never.
At that time, that's like 80 million a day. 90. You know.
At that time, you can't allow it to get to your head. You can't. It's great praise. Like,
it does get to so many people's heads, so that's the thing, you know.
But again, you need to keep showing that you're that sort of standard week in, week out. And you know what? My family wouldn't allow me to get above my station and near my teammates, which was the beauty of it.
Would your brother and that come in and just go, no, come on?
No, I not just them, but my teammate. Oh, she wouldn't let me. There's no chance.
Like you?
And my mates wouldn't let me. And you know what? My teammates, you'd have a laugh and a joke about it. But listen, praise is great. It is. There's no doubt about it. It's good to see that people praise you, and it shows that you're at least showing that you're a good player.
We'll jump to another low. We're going to highs and lows. What went wrong with Paul Le Guen?
They've got a different way of managing foreign people.
Of course.
Well, Dick Advocat wasn't he? He was quite like kind of. He was at it a wee bit.
Yep.
But every time at that stage, we weren't having a great season. We were, I think, 3rd, 4th in the league. We were coming in after games. He was saying everything's okay, we must stick together. Now, I was guilty of holding stuff in, which I normally don't do. I normally just let it out. But respectfully, a new manager, the Rangers have brought this guy in for Leon, who's won big trophies, and he's obviously a massive name. Yep. And it just got to
boiling point.
It was boiling point, if I'm being honest with you. I was getting frustrated when I was going away for the pitch. Getting home and I was speaking to some of the players and they were getting frustrated. And then I should have went and spoke to him, but he probably wouldn't have spoke to me because he was like that. He was arrogant. He wouldn't. Like sometimes if you don't want to speak to a player, that's fine, but take his point of view and maybe if you don't agree with it, then you just move on.
Yeah, for sure.
But then I go to the Inverness game, 1-0 up. I think it was a penalty. I get fouled for the penalty. They beat us 2-1. No disrespect to Inverness, but Inverness shouldn't be beating the Rangers team.
2-1, 2-0? Was it 2-0?
2-1.
Was it 2-1?
No disrespect to Inverness, but they shouldn't be beating.
Who scored for us that game?
Do you know what? I'd need to look back. I can't even remember.
Aye, they shouldn't be beating us anyway, for sure. Yeah.
So I comes in after the game and I'm saying to myself walking in, right, I'll see if he's going to gaze a bit here. Because we needed a bit, we needed told it wasn't good enough. We needed a few harsh words told to myself and other players because I wasn't playing at the level that I should have. And he just came in and says the same thing. We must stick together, we move on. I was like, nah. I just went and I went crazy.
The Barry in you came out.
Aye.
Shouting at him, coaches.
Which was a build up a couple of months.
Aye.
Which I should have done it a couple
Maybe
of months.
poorer mindsets as well.
See if I'd done it a couple of months before, it would have been the same scenario.
So that respect you gave him went against you?
Aye.
In a way?
Yep.
You should have probably just said it at the start. No, it's really interesting.
So we flew home and then we came in the following day or the day after. We were going to a hotel to play Motherwell. I comes in with my bag, sits down at my locker. The assistant manager comes in and he doesn't even come right into the room. He just at the corner and shouts, the manager wants to see you. So I knew it was about, obviously, because I went crazy. I'd said a few things, a few arguments with players, and I went into his office, and there's a chair. I went to put. He's like, "Don't you sit?" So I was like, "All right," and he's like, "You'll never play with Rangers again. It's over. Go out my room." So I was in a daze. You know that kind of sparkled way.
Yeah. It's like when someone dies and you're grieving, you're
numb. So I just
numb.
goes into the dressing room, I fix my bag, and I can hear all the boys shouting, "Fergie, where are you off to?" Jimmy Bell, the kit man, where you going? So I'm just walking down with my bag. I get into the car, and then it hits you that it could be the end of your Rangers career. But see, in terms of leading up, I had no arguments with him, no disagreements with him. One disagreement, he sent somebody off in training, Phil Bardsley. He sent him off. I've never seen a player sent off in training in my life for a tackle.
Crazy.
And it wasn't even a crazy tackle.
But he just send him home?
Just sent him off. Aye. I'm like, it's not even a bad tackle. But anyway, had a wee disagreement there with him. And there was just a couple of wee things, like he was bitey. Yeah, but that's managers. But there was no like
animosity.
No,
that kind of ego, and I feel if they're quiet, they're holding things in as well. And then they make it the coaches are saying stuff, or Barry's not happy with it. Then again,
you get all the press saying that there's divides in the dressing room. I've got a divide in the dressing room. What a lot of bollocks, man. It was. And I'm reading it and I'm thinking to myself, so this shit. Who's coming out with this crap? Is it coming for his camp? I don't know. But then, a couple of days later, he's away. But his bags have been packed. The house that he rented, all the boxes were all.
Do you think he just tried to give you a wee nasty one before he left?
No, I think he wanted to do it.
Right.
He wanted to do it, and in a way was to go for me.
True.
And if he wanted to go for me, but go for me face to face.
Aye, like a man. Yeah.
That was that's what you say. Like the media side, there was so much shit coming out that I'm actually reading it at time. I was actually reading it right because I get told to stay in the house for 7 days again. So I'm going down Strathy Park, and it's a good run round about there, and people are looking at me. Fucking hell, there's him, but he's got divides in the dressing room, and I'm thinking to myself, no, no, listen to this.
Yeah.
So I had to wait till I get back in, and Walter Smith come back as the manager. He brought me straight in the office and says, right, you're playing tonight, get the captain's armband out, go out and do your stuff. And that was it.
Amazing how many recoveries, like with that, he's trying to strip you out, your heart broken, you come back, boom, I trust you, captain armband. That shows that it was just, he wasn't in the man, like when we talk about the manager style, that was just no for you. No, that was just no for you.
Do you know what annoys me and frustrates me? Because I wish he would have just spoke to me.
Aye, you could have actually built a relationship.
Aye, he says to me, listen, I don't know. I mean, he actually says to me a couple of times, I forgot about this. There was a boy we signed, he was a Czech Republic international, and I had a pop at him in training for no chasing back. And the manager pulled me and says, you can't speak to him like that. And I looked at him, I says, this guy's 32. He's an international player. I can't have a pop at him. If I see somebody that's not doing their work and training, I'm going to say, because I would expect somebody to have a pop at me.
Yeah.
If I never followed my runner, I'd expect somebody to say, hey Fergie, fucking follow your runner. No, that's just, it was a strange one, and you know what, still to this day, it cracks me up that the guy never had maybe the balls to pull me and say, look, I don't like the way you are, maybe you're too hard on people. And then do you know what, there's a solution, you can go on about it. That's my character, that's the way I feel I get the best out of players.
Yeah, you just
I may need to change it towards other people.
Yeah.
But that was me, I was just fire, I just wanted to win, I just wanted to do the best for Rangers.
Absolutely.
Now, if that's a crime, then I guess I'm guilty of being too passionate.
Well,
but I don't think there's anything up with being passionate, is there?
There is not. It just didn't fit, obviously. Some things don't fit.
Aye.
It didn't fit.
Listen, it's life. It's, as I say, you get knocks and you just need to...
Yeah. On to the I want to know a couple of questions here. Who's the best Celtic player you ever played against, or who would you have liked to have been in our team from any year that you'd played? Who would you love to play with?
Oh, it's got to be...
Another respect value. Larson, unreal. Aye. Do you know, I don't know if you know, I told you
it's got to be, he was frightening. He was frightening player. He's one that you had to keep quiet. But see, if you think back to the team's early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
Rangers that were incredible.
Somebody mentioned me on a night when I was in radio. Arthur Newman was actually on, and he rhymed off about 15 players. And they were all top-notch players. I mean, nowadays, they'd be worth 40, 50, 60 million pounds. And then I'm thinking back, then you go and mention the Celtic players. Larson, Sutton, Hartson, Petrov, Lennon, Thompson, Mialby,
Moravcik.
There's another one, Moravcik, he was some player.
Phenomenal. Moles. That was just the best time for
Tried to
me.
have a few kicks at him a few times.
For me, I
half
don't think
check.
we've recovered from that. I don't think Rangers and Celtic, both teams, I think we've never been as
I
good.
don't think you'll ever get back to the. Well, hopefully they'll get back to the standard.
Not even. I don't think we're anywhere near the standard, to be honest.
But they two teams, see the games,
phenomenal. Get my 9 in a row DVDs and
they were unreal.
But people don't know. I told Hearts in this when he was on. I was a massive Rangers fan.
By the way.
Oh, brilliant guy. He was great. And I was some Rangers fan, right? Massive. But I don't know if you probably won't remember, 100 of Larsson's greatest goals. Tongue in cheek, it was called. Tongue in cheek. And I used to watch it and copy him. And I'm a big Rangers fan, but I'm watching and copying Larsson because I used to watch all games, watch all games to see what they were doing. Then I'd watch Celtic the week before they played us, right, okay, what are we going to do? And I would watch him, I just thought he was unbelievable. Him and Ronaldo, and Nazario Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo. I just watched him with everything, and I just wish one day he would, that's your right.
No, he was some player, but then, I mean, you had him on your podcast last week or the week before, Big John Harrison. What a player he was!
What a player!
I was gutted that he never signed me because he failed the medical at Rangers.
Told us, yeah.
And I remember our doc was rushing out one day, and I'm like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I think we've got John Harrison."
Should have tripped him up.
I was like, "Oh, I'll take him in a minute." And then obviously failed his medical, and a week later he signs with Celtic, but.
Unreal.
Good player, good. I like John Hartson as well. Good
he's
guy.
A lovely guy. Go for lunch with him soon. He's just he's good friends with my Uncle Jazz. He's just a lovely guy. So looking back at a playing career, a lot's happened. Is there anything you would go back and change or do differently, or are you just listen? I'm a human. I don't regret it, or what?
Probably the only thing I would change would be the episode at Scotland. Like I should have just kept it in and maybe just held back a wee bit without doing that to the photographers. Yeah. Because it ended my Scotland career and my Rangers career.
But you could have came back to Scotland, But you just didn't think it was right.
No, I spoke to Craig Levine. He came down to Birmingham a few times, and I just says to him, "Look, I thought about it." Mm-hmm. But it was just going to be a media circus run about me, and that's no fair on the players.
It would have took it away from the other players.
And I'm a team player, and I wasn't want to come back and look who's back, and then it would be the media. I would be having to talk to the media. I just felt get that away. That's the last thing the boys needed. Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing I would change. Listen, see the other mistakes I've made out with football in terms of getting into a bit of trouble. That's a learning thing for me. Knowing when to go, where to go.
I need to mention because this happened to a boy in my old team, the 6-2. Remember the 6-2 with Celtic?
Aye.
And you went out in Bothwell. Aye. First of all, why are you going out in Bothwell? Who goes out in Bothwell?
Because there's a hotel, it's quiet. Aye, but we used to go to the Bothwell Bridge for a pint now. Look, again, that was blown out. It says I went my Rangers tracksuit on. That's
my favourite story of you, I'm telling you. I love
my Rangers tracksuit. My Rangers tracksuit was in my boot.
So you went in the tracksuit?
No, this is, again, grows arms and legs. But
there's another, that tells you.
Listen, I made an arse. Made an arse here. Going out after that game. Getting beat 6-2.
After the Old Firm one.
And getting sent off.
Yeah.
And I had a skinhead as well, which I think it didn't get into well.
I did too.
So that was a lesson I learned, not to go after an Old Firm game. And I kept to that.
Yeah, because you
after
can't.
No matter if you win.
You win or you lose.
Aye, so.
You win, you get in trouble off the Celtic fans. If you lose, you get in trouble off both fans.
Aye, so. Listen, we all make mistakes. It's how you learn from it. That's it.
Absolutely. I think that's something that for boys growing up, they are going to lose their temper at times.
Yeah.
I think the best thing you've done is you've flipped your mindset from it. You have came back from some major things. And some major things that would have crumbled a lot of people.
I mean, listen, I'm a fiery character, and I had to go and see somebody about it. I went to see a therapist about.
Interesting.
I was really fiery, just
about
anything.
Anger management kind of thing.
Aye, just like anything. Like the kids would lead something, and they're older, and I would go off my head. I'm thinking, 2 minutes later, why am I even getting off my head with leaving a plate, or leaving a fork and knife, or leaving a cup of juice or something. Yeah. So I was open about it. I had to say, nah, that's not right. So I went and seen a therapist for about 6-8 weeks. Mm-hmm. It was good. I've got wee tools now that I use.
That's phenomenal, because that's a lot of what we do, and what my producer does. He does a lot of counselling.
I still
mental
flip.
health.
I still
When
go,
you auntie, sometimes it feels good. It
but
does.
I've got tools that I use.
You know, sometimes it feels good to flip. Let's be honest. It feels good to flip, and then after it, you're like that. Feel good.
But it was more like with the kids, and the kids are old, and I thought to myself, look, this is not the way I want to be. So I need to get a wee grip here.
Yeah, I guess.
So I'm not scared to admit I wait to see somebody about it. And they say I wasn't like
that's class.
Wasn't the worst I've seen, but they knew the kind of character I was on the pitch.
Yep.
I kind of brought that off the pitch, which I didn't want to. So I kind of had to
I think that's really important message for the men watching, guy. I know a lot of men watch this who have been suicidal or are recovering or are struggling with mental health. If Barry Ferguson can go and get help for anger or for anything that's to do with the mindset or for your mental health, you can. You can, all right?
Don't be afraid. I'm look, my missus is a psychotherapist.
Oh, well, okay.
She does a lot of that.
I might need to see her.
And no, do you know what? She'll leave books about, and she's got a lot of paperwork, and she helps. She's working with in between 14 and 18-year-olds now. But she's done like adults as well, voluntary. Just books lying about, and I pick it up, and that's a wee bit of me, that. Right, so how can it's good, you know what I mean? I'm not scared to admit it's not something I'm not proud to admit, but I did go off my head too easily. Because I've learned, like walking down the street, if somebody shouted at me, I'd shout back at them. Now I just walk and think, what are you doing, mate? Get a grip.
You need to, and it helps you. It's not sometimes it's not nice being like that all the time.
No, it's not like I still get it. I still get the shouts for absolute idiots.
You're always going to get that.
Do you know what? I'll just do that. No problem, mate. Just shout what you want. You're the one that's making an absolute arse of yourself.
Hartson gets a lot as well. He was saying that's why he moved to Edinburgh. Moved across to Edinburgh. So from Champions League to various leagues each side of the border, what lessons from elite football do you bring to, as opposed to Kelty or Clyde?
Certainly Kelty professionalism. That's the biggest thing. I try and do everything as close to full time as possible. I would say, in terms of making sure the guys are getting the right supplements in them before and after training. They're doing the right recovery, and just making sure everything done to the kits. There's no excuses, because as you know, players will use any small excuse down to like all that sort of stuff. So I try and make it as professional as possible, and create an environment that the boys look forward to coming into. That's the most important thing for me. I want my boys to come in with a smile on their face, knowing that they're going to work hard, but they're coming in to enjoy it. Because I've got to be respectful. The work during the day, these guys are working for 6, 7, 8 in the morning to 5 at night, and coming jump straight into their car to come to training.
Yeah, so it's tough. So
I've got to make it as enjoyable, but also hard. It is hard work. But the wee bits in terms of the recovery drinks or the recovery like tablets and all that sort of stuff, I've got zinc, magnesium, all that sort of stuff, and the protein recovery shakes. Try and do everything best possible to help them recover, because I've got to understand that they're out for, as I mentioned, early morning, and they're not getting back into 10 o'clock at night. So all the wee things. So that's what I try and bring as much professionalism. Look, I was professional. I love it. Look, I'm not going to kid on. I love the night out.
Of course.
Who doesn't?
Every footballer goes it. It's just they don't. Like,
when it came to, I had a routine. Monday to Saturday. Ate the right stuff. Made sure I got all the right fluids and all the right supplements into me. Saturday night, I enjoyed a few beers or a few wines, and Sunday was my off day, my fry up. Rolling sausage and potato scone.
Can't beat it.
And mince and tatties. So sometimes you've got to get yourself a wee break, and that's what I try and say to the boys. Try and live as clean as possible during the week.
We're human.
And that's what I know.
I think you bring amazing type stuff to that club. That's what if I wanted to go back and play, I would want that kind of manager. I would want that kind of personal approach. I would want that. It doesn't mean personal approach doesn't need to just be me and you. It's you and the whole team. What you give to the whole team, you're giving that personality over. And
You
I
just
think
try and
most kids watching this are going to be like,
you
well,
just try and be
you
as
know.
best as you can. You know what I mean? The club have got to take a lot of credit. They back me in what I try and do.
Yeah, for sure.
So fair play to them, because 3 years ago it was a junior club.
Yep, exactly.
And now we're in the Betfred Cup playing St Johnstone and Dundee United in a few weeks.
Brilliant. I'm going to come watch that. Actually,
And we're going.
Me give me a ticket.
Aye, we're going.
Stint these days.
Different level. They're trying to go to a different level, which is great to see. A club with ambition, and a clear drive. The guy, the general manager, he's just a driven guy. And
like you.
Aye, and I says to him, look, see if it doesn't go right, you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I tried everything possible.
Yep.
And that's what I say to the boys.
Good.
And this is what happened this season. We won the league last year, we never get promoted. It was a kick in the teeth. But we need to go again, and we need to get our best shot. Come the end of the season, don't have any regrets.
The boys good?
Excellent bunch of boys. I've got to be honest with you, I treat them as my own kids.
Class.
That's the way that I see them as.
They'll give you that back.
As I said at the start, I try and be there for them, not just for football. If they want to pick up the phone, they want to text. I'm not into the texting, but I like to hear people's voices, and I like to see people face to face. It's different now. The text, not listen, come in and see me, and they're a wee bit like, I don't bite. Was it
Andy Halliday that says, or someone else I was watching on a podcast says, he got a text that he wasn't playing?
I just can't believe it.
He got a text that he wasn't playing an important game.
I think you just got to be open and honest with you, and I think you gain their respect with being open and honest with them.
Aye, for sure. Last question for you, my man. Like lots of sporting personalities, you've made the transition to the media.
Working with the one and only Sai Ferry.
Working with Sai.
I bet he texts me actually and says, you better give me a mention.
So, what is it?
Did he give me a mention in his?
I think he did. I think he did. Good boy, man. I think
didn't
he was.
That's all right. I'll see him on Monday.
Paul? Terrible. He just wants for himself, doesn't he? He's
he's just off for himself.
All for himself, Sai. Can he leave here quick enough? I'm like, no, he was great. He's a good boy. So, what kind of change has it been to the mindset, etc., of doing that, hanging the boots up, not longer playing, coming at it from a different? Because you can't probably be that money driven, wanting everyone best for everyone when you're on talking on TV. What approach do you need to bring?
An honest approach. I've got to be honest. I feel quite a lot of people just be negative for the sake of being negative.
Yeah.
I've got to be mindful that I was a professional. I was in the player's shoes.
Yeah.
Now, a player knows when he's not played well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a way around about it to say, listen, he's not had a good game, but I'm sure he'll come back. I don't like seeing pundits criticised.
Yeah, I've heard you say that. Is it them exact words?
I honestly don't like it. I think there's a way, constructive criticism. But there's
mental with it.
See if you're constructive.
Aye.
See if somebody criticised me. There was quite a lot of media people criticised me, but it was constructive criticism. I'll take it on the chin. But see when it becomes personal, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. I don't think that.
I think people do it for fun. I think like Sutton and some people like that, they do it for it. Doesn't matter who they're commenting on. Rangers sell it to anyone. I think sometimes you just do it for a laugh.
But I've got to be honest with you, I'm really enjoying the media. I've had my column now for a number of years. I enjoy that. It's more on the Rangers side. And when I need to be critical of Rangers, I'm hard, but I try and be as positive as I can. Yeah, it's difficult when things are not going well. I put
questions to people, right? Mm-hmm. And one of them asked me, 2 or 3 of them asked me actually, they're saying, ask Barry about the media stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about the media, they say, so you've got Sutton and stuff like that, they'll always big up the Celtic players, always for millions of pounds. But you'll come in and say maybe, Morelos, don't think he's worth that or something else, and maybe belittle them a wee bit more. But for me knowing you now, I know that's because you're honest side. Is that because you want to be brutally honest, or you just don't want to big them up and lie? Or
I'm just brutally honest. If somebody asked me about Morelos or Ryan Kent, like Ryan Kent, for instance, last season, if you ask Ryan Kent, who I would imagine is an honest boy, that wasn't good enough. This season, Ryan Kent's on a different level.
I think he's brilliant this year.
And that's what I'll be. Morelos,
in his body.
For me, he scored a couple of goals last night. I need to see more.
Aye.
I need to see more for a 15, 20 million pound striker.
We want to see more, don't we?
There's nobody a bigger Rangers fan than myself.
Yeah.
And I'm just honest, my opinion. I feel that's the best way, and I can look myself in the mirror and say I'm being honest.
And
I'm giving my opinion.
I think when I talk to any fan, or me myself, or my cousins who sports say they're massive Celtic fans, we'll always big up and be biased. We don't mean it. We're just like, oh no, he's worth 40 million when we know he's no, but we're just like,
well, for instance, like people
ask Barry no saying that, you know.
No, but like people ask me about Celtic, and I'll give you an honest opinion. I think Edouard's on a different level for everybody.
He's a very good player.
Aye, I think Ryan Kent this year has been phenomenal. And I think Rangers have got a real good chance this year. Yeah. That's my opinion. Now, that might change in a couple of months if they go through a bad spell. But I need to see a different side of Rangers, which I'm beginning to see now.
Yeah, they maybe, see when they watch this and they hear about your mindset, then they'll understand where you're coming from it. I think you've been absolutely fantastic today. My favourite guest so far.
I'm a bit serious at times, I know that, but
heart of gold, I can see that as well, man. Passion.
But I'm enjoying the media side, and obviously what you're doing is great, because it's, listen, if it helps one person, if they listen to this and they think, oh, that's a good mindset to have.
Yep. I actually talked to my fourth person off of a bridge, and that's, people don't realise how much effect that has on me as well, because I leave my number open on Instagram and that, get in touch with me if you need me.
Listen, again, I'll go back to what me being a manager, I've had a couple of instances where players have had suicidal thoughts, and
like me when I was a player,
I helped them. In terms of coming into my office, I pointed them into the right direction to go and get the right therapy, and all these wee things. It's great to see that you can help these people. You know what I mean? And see them come through it, because it's tough. Life can be tough.
Yes,
at times for people.
You've been to that. You've been to them dark places. Let's not.
Aye, listen, it is a weird one in terms of people keep asking me where do I get the kind of mindset and all that from. But I don't know. I get something within me just to go and prove. Yep,
that wee fire's always there.
Aye, there's always a fire burning. Aye, it's not been put out yet. It might get put out in a few years. I'm getting too old now.
Wonder if I get you on in like 40, 30 years.
I don't think you'll be here in 30 years.
If we're still kicking about, that you'll have the same answer for that question.
I don't think it'll ever leave you. I think it'll always be with me.
Brilliant.
I go about it in a slightly different way as a manager now.
Yeah, I love it. Listen, I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you so much for coming on.
No problem.
I think you have been fantastic. I think we've ran over time. I'm just cautious of the time because I know you need to be away. I think you've been brilliant. Everyone's going to watch is going to love this interview. And I can't shake your hand, but you're one of my idols, mate. And I looked up to you. It was weird when we played you when I was at Annan and Clyde. You're like, you're controlling the ball here. Not bad face. You know what I mean? You don't know whether to focus on the goal or focus on you. But listen, thanks for coming on. All right, thank you guys.
Cheers.
Magic. Cheers.